And for me to see people's questions, I have to go to some YouTube page, or how does this work? Or do they show up in the chat? Or people have
block, but I'll read them to you.
Well, right? What's that?
They're in the, I'll put them in the Google Doc, but I can also read them to you if you want, like last
Oh, right. Yeah, I don't actually have the Google Doc in front of me, so I need the link for that.
Yeah, I messaged you in Slack. I'll send it again right here.
Cool. Live now. Here we go. Nice. All right. Well, we are live, everybody. I hear, I'm told, I'm being told. It seems like we're live. Let's do it. So we are, reminder for everybody, we're talking about brand. Brand. So we are on this path to, for you guys to learn everything that I know about marketing, which is a huge, like that's probably a little bit of a hyperbole. That's, I can't promise that, but I'll do my best to share with you guys everything I know. So as a reminder, this is the path that we're on here together. I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see my little thing here, my drawings, boom, and then I hit screen mirroring, and then I do that, and then you guys can see. So that's not what I wanted to share. I wanted to share this one here. So we're talking about brand, which is all about you, who you are, really knowing yourself, what you stand for, all of that stuff. Last week, we talked about your beliefs and the elements that go into creating a movement. Today, we're going to talk about character, how to craft a character. And then when we're done with that, we can get to market, which is all about understanding your audience, your customer, who they are, what they want. And then we can talk about offer, which is bridging the gap between the two, essentially, right? Which is, what is the thing that we're going to put out there and offer people that they're going to want to buy, right? And then once we've figured out these pieces, which is sort of the defining stage of this stuff, we get into taking action. So this is where we actually put this stuff into action, and we do that through the journey that we design for people. So that's taking people through a series of steps from the first time they hear about it to engaging, to buying, to being super happy and buying your higher end products, etc. So that's the journey that we're on together here. Last week we talked about the brand with you as a fearless leader, and something about manifestos and who are your enemies and all of that stuff, and worldviews and things of that nature. And today we are going to talk about building a character. So let's start. Let us start on that. Yes. So why do we want to craft a character around you? Here's why. Here's why. Human beings are drawn to characters. We're drawn to, like, we watch movies, right? And we read stories and novels. We tell each other stories. It's how we exchange information, values, install new beliefs. Stories are super critical for how we function as human beings. I'm wondering if I should keep sharing, or I wish there was like, can I pause? No, that doesn't do it. I wanted to get just my face on here while I'm talking. Let's see if that works. Yeah, so a character, you know, if you know with soap operas, right? These TV shows that just keep going on forever and ever and ever. I remember when I was a kid growing up in Denmark, there was a show called Dallas. I think that was what it was called. There was another show called Dollars, which I believe was called Dynasty in the US, but when it got over to Denmark, it was called Dollars. So there's Dallas and Dollars. It's kind of fun. And remember, my friend's mom would watch that every day. She was a working from home mom. She would watch that show every day, both of them. And why do people do that, right? They do that because they want to know what happens next. What does this character on the show, what do they do next? What are they gonna do next? Right? We want to know. We're super curious. So, and these shows obviously do it very effectively by constantly opening loops, right? So they never, like, an episode always opens some story loops that you leave you hanging, and you're like, oh shit, what's gonna happen next episode, right? And then they close some of the story loops from some of the previous episodes, but not all of them. And so they keep you going and going and going like that, right? Keep you unsatiated. There's always this like open gap in your mind somewhere where you're like, oh my God, what is he gonna do next, right? So what we want to do is craft a character around you. And this can go two ways, and both are valuable. One is you as the teacher, as the founder of the company, crafting your character and being really deliberate about how you show up, what is your brand, what is the way that you show up in the world. And we want it to be like you, but not exactly you, right? So it's not, we want it to be true to who you are, but not, it doesn't have to have every single nuance to you, right? It's an an exaggerated, a deliberate version of you. It's not inauthentic. It's not wrong. It's just crafted for a specific purpose. And the way that we do that is several things, but we start with a character diamond. So I'll show you guys what a character diamond looks like, and then we're going to try and craft one, and I'll share you mine. And let's see if this works the way I want it to this time. Boom, it did. Amazing. All right, cool. So let's go here, grab ourselves a fresh page, and I'm going to say, up here, I'm going to say character diamond. Character diamond. There we go. And so what this looks like is a diamond shape. And up here, we're going to have your primary character trait. I don't know why we show it this way. It's called a character diamond. I guess that's why we show it in a diamond shape. It's just 4 aspects. So this comes from movie making, storytelling. I learned about it from the folks over at Digital Marketer, Ryan Dice and Marcus Murphy, and folks like that. They learned about it from some movie script writers. So we have a primary character trait. We have a secondary character trait down here. And then we have a quirk or mask or flaw. Honestly, actually, now that I do this, I'm not 100% what the hell is meant with the word mask. But this I know for sure, but like quirk and flaw, we all know what that means. So it's essentially that. And over here we have the non-negotiable. So let's dive in. So this stuff is not the easiest thing in the world. Like trying to figure out like what should this stuff be. Let's do another color. Let's do that one. That's a nice character diamond color. There we go. Let's see if I can hit that down there. Pretty great. All right. So the trick is to figure out what these are. And I'll be honest with you guys, Marcus was a huge help for me in figuring out what these were for me. But here's how it works. So the primary one is your primary character trait. Like who are you? How do you show up? The secondary one balances out the primary one, right? So it's like, well, yeah, but I'm also a little bit of a, right? So here's the thing, right, about characters in stories, in movies, in business characters. We don't want them to be perfect. Nobody likes a perfect hero. Nobody likes a perfect character in a movie. If you think of any movie that you like, the hero always has a flaw, right? Every single time the hero has a flaw. You know they have to have a flaw. Like, Batman, he has, I think his flaw is like his background with his parents, and like he gets emotional and stuff. And you know, Superman, obviously kryptonite, right? There has to be some sort of flaw in this person or we don't care. We can't take it seriously. We're not interested. So, so the second, so we have two of those here essentially, right? We have the quirk, mask, flaw. So the flaw is literally sort of the flaw. The secondary is there to balance out the primary a little bit. You can go read more about this. There's an article over on drift.com about character diamonds, which incidentally Ryan Dice wrote. And then the non-negotiable is also known as the hill you're willing to die on, right? The non-negotiable for you. And then the quirk, mask, flaw is, again, it's like, yeah, it's there. So let me give you an example from me. My character diamond as Calvin Brandt. So we have here, my primary is to be your trusted guide. Trusted. That's what I do. I'm like, I've tried it all, so you don't have to. I can guide you through the you know, life or business or whatever it is, because I've done it all. I've figured it all out. I've tried a shit ton of things that didn't work. I've tried things that did work, and I can guide you. That's the primary one. My secondary character trait is oversharing. I have a tendency to just share too much. I give away sort of too much of the behind the scenes, or just overshare, just share too much, right? Like for example, like the whole going to Necker Island, right? Before going to Necker Island, I was always like, oh my God, that's so amazing. Oh my, I'd see these people that were on Necker, and I was like, every time in my imagination, it was like Richard Branson had like, you know, tapped him on the shoulder and said like, hey, I want you to come hang out on you know, Necker Island with me. And then I went myself last year, and I found out, no, that's not how that works. You pay, you know, on the order of $45,000, and you get to go for a week. And there's like these various groups that, or leaders that will take you on a trip. Anybody can do that. You and I could do one if we wanted to. We just have to find, you know, around 25 people that are willing to pay around $45K each for a week on Necker Island. And then like Richard's going to be there for an hour or two, or maybe a little more if you're lucky, right? So that's just how that works. It's not like Richard's tapping you on your shoulder. You just, you know, pay your way there. It doesn't mean that it's not a great experience, but I'm the one that will actually tell you that stuff. Because I mean, that's just how it works. And like, I know I'm not supposed to say that, or, I mean, it's not a secret or anything, but most people, you know, like to keep that thing. I guess stop sharing again. Why does it do that? I'm on to the next page here, and you guys aren't seeing that. This thing is stupid. Let's try again. Yeah, so I'm the oversharing guy who will just tell you that stuff outright. Instead of trying to like confer extra credibility onto me by pretending like, you know, I got tapped on the shoulder by, they won't say that, right? They won't say like, oh, Richard called me and he wanted to, like, they won't lie, but they will happily let you continue in the belief that that's probably what happened, which it wasn't. So that's my secondary character trait. And then the quirk or mask or flaw is that I can be offensive. Some people find me offensive. They do, because I'm gonna freaking say it like it is, because my non-negotiable is integrity and truth. Integrity and truth, right? So that is my non-negotiable. I'm not going to bullshit. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say something that I don't believe is true. And some people get offended by that. And so be it. And so be it, right? So there's a lot of power in having this very clearly defined, you know, this is who I am. This is what I stand for. And now I know that when I communicate, I can remember that. People on my team know when they see that that's, you know, to see the blowback or whatever, like puts it into context, right? It's super powerful for you to know your brand. Like, let me give you guys an example from politics, right? There's, I don't know if you guys know, but there's an election coming up in America, right? This is like in a couple months. It's since I'm sure you haven't heard a thing about it at all, but it's true. An election is coming up. And so one of the things that you'll see is one of the presidential candidates here, his name is Donald Trump. His brand doesn't get, like, when there's some kind of scandal that he may or may not have had sex with a porn star or any stuff like that, it rubs off on it. It doesn't impact him because it's on brand for him. It's on brand for him, right? So it doesn't tarnish his brand when stuff like that comes up. It's part of the brand, right? So whenever people get offended with something I say, it's on brand. Guys, it's on brand. So there is power in that. He said, like, during the last election famously that, like, he could shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue and he wouldn't lose any fans, right? That's also like that sort of part of his brand is to be that like out of the box guy that will do crazy shit that you didn't expect, right? So crazy, really, really powerful stuff. The trick is in figuring out what words to put here, right? So what you want to do is start with a brainstorm. Start with a brainstorm. Like, what could it be? Read that article, like really marinate on it. Really take some time to think it through, and you know, get some help from some people who know you. It's not just about throwing some words in there, right? It's about throwing the right words in there. I'm looking for the one that we did for Simplero. I have it somewhere, I know. I should have memorized it at this point, but I have not. Oh, another thing that you can do here, by the way, which is super powerful, is you can think of, like, who is a movie character that reflects this. So in here, a movie character. Ah, shit, it stopped doing it again. I don't know why it does that. I can't think of a reason it would do that. And yet it keeps doing it. Think of a movie character. So who is someone that you're like, that you know from a movie? And I'm actually not sure about that for me. I'd love to hear your guys's thoughts on that. If there's someone that comes to mind, it might be some of the same that we came up with for the Simplero brand. So this is Calvin brand. And then I'll illustrate for you guys how this works. So Simplero brand has its own character diamond. It's related, obviously. It's related, but it's not the same, okay? So for Simplero, we came up with Trailblazer as the primary. And that was another word that we also used up here. So
Calvin, it's not showing what you're writing again.
Oh, wait, it's not. Is it now?
Yeah, now it seems showing. Yep, there you go.
Okay, interesting. So I just moved that from one monitor to the other, and that seemed to be confusing it. So, but I haven't done that the other times. Anyways, okay. So Trailblazer is something that we could be another word for, like, trusted guide, essentially, like blazing a new trail and then being able to show you the way. So the secondary that we came up with for Simplero is safe. So Simplero is safe. Like, everything is integrated, it's all in one. You can't really fuck up too bad, make too many mistakes. If you fuck something up, we have concierge team that's ready to help you out. So like we're trailblazers. You keep it safe for you, right? And I'll get to, so one of the tricks here is that who are you going to attract, right? You're going to attract people who are similar to your character diamond, right? That's going to be your audience. They're going to mimic that as well. So again, so trailblazer as a primary, safe as a secondary, and then we have love out here as the non-negotiable. Love. And then over here, the quirk and the mask is raw. So how this works out is that we are, we're trailblazers, doing things, new ways. We're for trailblazers. We keep it safe also. Our non-negotiable is love. We're always going to meet you from love. We're always going to see things from a bigger perspective. From love, we're going to lead with love. It's always going to be the case, right? We're always going to focus on, what expands love the most versus what makes us the most money in the short term, or what's transactional, etc. So more of like what's right here. And then the quirk is that we're a little bit raw, right? Like you're just like the presentation that you're seeing right now is like not polished or perfect or anything like that. I'm literally just like showing you the sausage being made, sharing this presentation for the first time live with you guys because I think it has value for you. And so that's our character diamond. Now the movie character that we came up with here we came up with a couple, but two of them that I relate with, which is Vivian from what's it called again? It's called Pretty Woman. Who here knows that movie, Pretty Woman? I bet a bunch of people know that. Yeah, so Vivian, right? She's this prostitute, gets picked up by, played by Julia Roberts, gets picked up by Richard Gere, who is this hardcore, business mergers and acquisitions, private equity dude. He buys companies and then squeezes them for profit and then tosses them out kind of thing. And she comes in there and into his life and into his world. And she just has this natural rawness about her. She's just direct, and she says things that you're not supposed to say, and she doesn't know how you're supposed to behave. And so she's just herself. And what it does is it opens up everybody's hearts. It opens up everybody's hearts to love, right? So that's who we are. Another one that came up was PP Longstocking. Oops, wrong thing here. PP Longstocking. Right? The Swedish little girl with these ponytails that rides a horse in the living room and all that stuff. So that's also who we are. So you can see how having that sense of, who we are, who's the character here, can be super duper powerful. Does that make sense? Let me know, guys, if that makes sense. And then I'll share with you how you can work more with the character diamond. So for this, I'm going to basically cheat and just copy in a page that I've already made. Yeah. In my language, it's Pippi Langstrømpe. All right. So knowing this, again, very, very powerful stuff. The trick isn't just figuring out what to put in here, right? What are those things? What is that character that you remind people of? And it's really helpful to get someone outside to help you with this, right? Because they can look at you and be like, hey, when I look at you as a character, the movie character that I think of is blah, right? And then you're like, yeah, What is it about that person? Well, it's his, that becomes a primary character trait. But then he also has, and then secondary character trait, right? And like, what is the hill that this person is willing to die on? Right? What is that? And then, all right, what's the quirk? And then you fill in these things, and then you sit on it, you sleep on it, and you're like, that feels freaking right, right? So that's how you go about constructing that. Here's another angle in crafting a story. You don't need to fill out every last thing here, but it is helpful to think about these questions. And you can also do that in the reverse, in the sense that you look at this first, and then you come up with what are the what's the character diamond, right? So I'll tell you, like, I have a printout of my personal character diamond right here on my monitor down here, so that I can always refer to that. I don't need too much, because like now I know that the Simplero one, like as you could tell, I haven't fully memorized. By the way, I'm going to take your guys' questions and workshop this stuff with you when I'm done with the presentation part of the stuff. So queue up your questions. I can see your questions here as well. Can I see the questions? There's no one in the chat. Are you guys here? Is anyone here? All right, so I'll get to your guys' questions. All right, so these are some other questions to think of when it comes to your character. So we have over here, we have superpowers. What are, if you were a movie character, right, or the character in a story, what are your superpowers? What are your successes? I have magic powers over here. I'm not sure what the difference between superpowers and magic powers are, honestly, as I'm looking at this right now. Sorry about that. Might be the same, might be different. I wouldn't worry about that. Anyway, what are your successes, right? And you, like, this is a little, there's not a lot of space here to fill it in. So think of these as just like question prompts. What's the origin story or backstory, right? Like, how did, if you all know Superman, how did he come to be? Or Jesus Christ, right? What's his backstory, right? We all know those. Those are very important. I think if you wanted to differentiate between superpowers and magic powers, superpowers are things that you're very, very good at. Magic powers are things that you're so good at it that it seems like magic to other people. But it's not a hard distinction. Parables, again, think of Jesus Christ, right? What are you teaching? Like, what are the things that you teach? And what are the stories that you use to teach, right? You probably have a handful or 5 handfuls of stories that you tell over and over again that do a specific teaching point, that teach a specific lesson, right? So those are parables. Envy-inducing things. So these are things that you can list that people will be envious of. It can be helpful to know, right? You can do that. Identity is like how you present yourself. And I have some options down here. It says leader, adventurer, reporter, or reluctant hero. You may have heard of some of these, you may not. I'm gonna turn off this like paper thing. It's not helpful. So a leader is someone who's like, hey, I've been there, I know the way, follow me, this is where we're gonna go, right? An adventurer is someone who's like, let's go on an adventure. I haven't been here before, but let's go, let's figure this out together, kind of thing. Reporter is someone who's like out there, like, think Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich, right? So he interviews a bunch of successful people and asks them, hey, what did you do? And he puts that together in a book. So that's kind of the reporter. The reluctant hero is like, hey, I'm really shy and uncomfortable, and I didn't really like want to teach this stuff, but or share this, but I found this, I learned this, and like people kept asking me, and so I'm like, yeah, I am. Maybe I should like teach this stuff, right? That's another way that you can show up. Jeff Walker likes to show up that way. It's part of his identities to be that reluctant hero. So you can kind of choose. Which for me, it's leader, no question. That's my. Oops, that was very big. That's for sure my approach. but you can do whatever fits your style. And there can be an advantage to like the reluctant hero is like, oh, like allows you to play that role of like, oh, I'm not really sure what I'm doing here. I'm not trying to attract attention, any of that stuff, right? All right, over here we have legendaries. Like, what are you legendary for? Ambitions and aspirations, amazement inducing, right? So we had envy inducing up here. What are people going to be amazed at? Parables we have again. See, this is like totally work in progress. What makes you likable? What makes you eccentric? What are your eccentricities? What are your likes or dislikes? Your pet peeves? Your enemies we talked about last week. Your core beliefs. Oh shoot, what did I do? Core beliefs. Your flaws, right? So there can be more than one, obviously. We're humans. Hobbies and interests, failures. So we had successes up here. So as you can tell, this is a little bit of a mess. My worksheet here. I'll get that cleaned up for you guys.
You've got to zoom out for us one more time, Calvin.
Oh,
there we go.
There we go. I was zoomed out, but it's slow catching up. I wonder if it's like an internet thing. I wonder if I used a cable, if it would be better. Anyway, next time. So yeah, so answer these questions for yourself, and then that'll probably inform your character diamond, right? And so that will tell you a lot about who you are as a character. And again, you can do this for you personally, and you can do it for your business. And there's a great course from Dan Kennedy on this stuff that I've been fascinated with for a very long time, which is called Personality and Copy. It's like a 2-3 hour presentation that he gives where he talks about this. And one of the things that he mentions is how, like, you know, when you do this and when you do it right, what you get is that your audience wants to follow along, right? Your audience has this like, oh, what's he going to do next? What's he going to do next, right? So you get that really powerful curiosity factor going with people, which is super cool. So that allows you to do a lot of things. And just like, you know, keep telling the story, keep telling stories to people. There was something I wanted to share at the beginning, by the way, that I forgot to. So I'm going to see if I can share this thing again. There you go. These clips all come from Seth Godin's book, This is Marketing. Highly recommend it. It's a great book. So the first one says, marketing is the generous act of helping others become who they seek to become. Right? That's what we're doing. There's a question in our Facebook group, in the Simplero user group, the other day, someone who's like, fuck, I hate that I have to do marketing. Well, marketing is the generous act of helping others become who they seek to become. All right? That's what we're doing when we're showing up here. It involves creating honest stories that resonate and spread. Marketers offer solutions, opportunities for humans to solve their problems and move forward. And then he has this piece. In essence, most marketers deliver the same feelings. We just do it in different ways with different services, products, and stories. And we do it for different people in different moments. If you can bring someone belonging, connection, peace of mind, status, or one of the other most desired emotions, you've done something worthwhile. The thing you sell is simply a road to achieve those emotions, and we let everyone down when we focus on the tactics and not the outcomes. Who's it for and what's it for are the two questions that guide all of our decisions. And then he talks about, he said, this one is good too. The entire organization works for and with the marketer because marketing is all of it. Marketing is all of it. It's what we make, how we make it, how we make it, and who we make it for. It's the effects and the side effects, the pricing and the profit all at once. And then finally, this marketing in 5 steps, also from the same book, Seth Godin, This is Marketing. The first step is to invent a thing worth making with a story worth telling and a contribution worth talking about, right? whether that's a course or coaching program or one-on-one coaching sessions or whatever it is. Make something that's worth making with a story worth telling, right? So it starts, a lot of people are like, here's the thing, now tell me how to sell it. Doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way. Marketing is all of it. So you have to, marketing informs what the thing is. You have to build the marketing into the thing itself, right? So it's like, something about it has to be compelling. And we'll get to that when we get to the offer piece. The second step is to design and build it in a way that a few people will particularly benefit from and care about. All right, you have to benefit and care. The third step is to tell a story that matches the built-in narrative and dreams of that tiny group of people, the smallest viable market. So he is all about like start super small, super narrow, super specific, and then grow from there. Grow from there, because you have to do something that a few people care a lot about and benefit a lot from. And then they're going to tell their friends, and they're going to tell their friends. And then you'll eventually reach people who don't care as much, right? And that's fine. But it starts with something that some people care deeply about. The fourth step is the one everyone gets excited about: spread the word. And the last step is often overlooked: show up regularly, consistently, and generously for years and years to organize and lead and build confidence in the change you seek to make, to earn permission to follow up and earn enrollment to teach. All right, so those are, I think, some good insights. Let me see here. I think we looked at that character thing there. Yep. So let me see if there's anything else I wanted to cover. Oh yeah. There is other stuff I want to cover. All right, let's do it. So, well, why don't we switch over? This is my here. A couple other things about the character. So we have the, oh, it stopped. Oh, it stopped sharing again. Damn it. Sure. So when it comes to the backstory, it's helpful to think of your hero's journey. I bet you guys have all heard of the hero's journey. This is a simplified version of it, right? So you're starting in the ordinary world. Everything's great. Life's just humming along. And then something happens that breaks ordinary world, right? Every story follows this. Every story follows this. Some shit happens that breaks ordinary world. For me, it was hitting my 30s and not yet being a billionaire, right? That broke my world. I had this thing that in order to be worthy of even breathing the air and taking up space on planet Earth, I had to be a billionaire before the age of 30. I was 30. I could still tell myself the story. It's right around the corner. 31, 32, 33, broke the fuck down, right? And so that broke my ordinary world. That's the call to adventure, right? It's like, okay, we got to go somewhere. 2003, I had that meeting, that advisory board meeting where my friend Thomas was like, I don't even know what you want. We've been here for 3 hours. I still have no idea what you want. That was a call to adventure as well. Then we have the meeting with a mentor, right? So someone that you meet, or lots of someones in theory, that can guide you through this journey, right? So for me, it was actually interesting because like one of the early things that happened was getting to know about Body SDS, but I didn't know the actual guy, the founder, Bengt, behind it at that point. I only got to know him later, and now we're friends and business partners, which is amazing. And then there's this death and rebirth, right, where you like go to the depth of the abyss and come back out. And then the road back, where you have to slay some dragons and all that stuff. And then you you find the elixir that you can bring back home to everybody, and then you get back home. So it moves, around like this, right? So that is your hero's journey. So that's a framework that can be helpful in terms of sharing your story, your journey. I think I'm going to remove that because this is my actual thing. And then we have the final thing I want to share here is personality sliders. So this can just be a helpful tool again and it doesn't have to be just these, and you can add your own, but just thinking of like, what are some different extremes in terms of the personality of your brand, right? Of you as a character or as the company brand. Are we more on the casual side or more formal, right? Are we more young or more experienced? Are we more economical, expensive, modern, classic, simple, complex, direct, flowery, or indirect, I guess, friend, authority, unconventional or mainstream, quiet or loud, feminine, masculine, industrial, natural, playful, serious, elite, mass appeal, subtle or bright, or approachable or elite. I think we had elite here twice. So, and you can come up with your own scales here, and just think of like, where would you put your brand on these different axes? That's super helpful to get clear on. That should be a pretty easy exercise, right? I think most of us have a pretty good sense of like where we would fit on that scale. Both company brand and personal brand. So I think that's basically what I wanted to cover today, guys. So ready to take your questions if you have any. Doesn't seem like we have a ton of questions today, but yeah, happy to answer any that you do have. Any and all.
We do have one question from Jordy.
Hey, Jordy.
Let me get him going.
Jordy, my man. How's it going, sir?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Good to be here. Thank you again. I more have a question. Like, I've been working a lot on my ideal customer, my avatars.
Mm-hmm.
And
which we'll get to next week.
Perfect. So then I'm a little bit ahead, but trying to see how I can get from this whole mix of feelings, frustrations, fears, wants, desires, goals, aspirations to put it in perspective of my two avatars, my higher paying and my like middle ground, because these are two different avatars, prospects. So my question is more like, how can I narrow it down to what I'm trying to attract? Because it's like a similar feeling we all have of like belongingness, connection, clarity, and balance.
Mm-hmm. So what does it look like? What you have? Like, what is the trouble?
Trouble is like narrowing my list from maybe 10 different frustrations to really putting it into like 3 or 5 or like.
Oh, what's the biggest one?
I think connection and belonging is clarity.
But that's not a frustration. What's the biggest frustration?
The biggest frustration is like they feel there's something missing in their life, and they're leaking energy and they're not feeling fulfilled.
Okay. Would they use the words "I'm leaking energy"?
Not really.
No. Okay. So there's something missing from their lives. What would they say? What words would they use? How would they describe it when they're sitting down talking to a friend over coffee after work one day? And they're like, they might say that.
Not doing what I love.
Mm-hmm.
I'm living, they wouldn't say that, but like I'm living someone else's life, someone else's goals. I'm not.
So the key is to find out what they would actually say, right? Like ideally what you're looking for is we all have this unconscious dialogue going on. We have this inner voice that we're not even really aware of, right? But it's like sitting right below the level of consciousness. But if you say exactly what that voice is saying, they're going to go, fuck yeah, that's exactly how I feel. How did you know that, right? That's what we're going for. That's what we're going for. They're not aware of that yet, that's the dialogue that's going on inside their minds. But you figure out how to suss that out of them, right? Either like, because you've probably heard someone say it, right? It reminds me, like I had a songwriting partner that I was writing songs with some years ago. And the way it would usually go is like, we would just sit down and be like, hey, I want to write a song about this, right? Like, I want to write a song with my daughter, and like, here's like, how I feel, and blah, blah, I'd go on. And then like, you'd be like, boom. And that's the hook, right? I'd say something that he's like, that's the hook. That's the main line in the chorus. That's the title of the song. That's the one that we're going to build this whole thing around. And then you figure out where all the other pieces fit, right? But is that like, you talk to these people and you listen to them, and then like they say something where you're like, boom, there it is. That's the phrase, right? And that's really what we're going for, because that's the thing that's gonna connect all the pieces together. That becomes the theme for everything that you communicate about. But you got to get it with that sort of specificity. And then the temptation is to be like, we tend to like zoom out and look at it, and well, I know what's going on. I know what the problem is, and I'm going to describe it in these sort of abstract terms. It's not going to work. Chances are it might be something that you've experienced, right? And so what you can do is you can go into your own life and think back, like, what was it that I was feeling, and what were the words that were going through my head at that time?
Yes, but then it's like the frustration, the pain that people speak about is, I'm tired, I'm stressed, I have pain here, like I keep having problems in my relationship.
I'm tired. Tired in what way? Tired of what?
Like one thing is like they don't have clarity on what's happening in their life. So organization,
I don't have clarity of what is happening in my life. Is that what they say? What like again? What would they say? I'm tired of this shit. Like why are fill in the words, right?
I hate my job.
I hate my fucking job. Okay, yeah. Now we're talking. Okay, yeah. I hate my fucking job. I hate my fucking life. I don't know. Maybe strong.
Yeah. Okay. But you're saying two things. It's like saying speak to the pain, but also speak to the underlying fear. But then the underlying fear is what you're already feeling for them, right?
Well, what I'm saying is speak to the pain in their language, right? Put words to the voice that's already happening inside of their heads, right? That's how you speak to the pain, is using the words that are happening in their head. Yeah. And then the other piece that we talked about last week was on the sort of the worldview and beliefs and all that stuff, right? Where you can get into like, what is it? What is it they believe? They have a belief that life doesn't have to suck. Like you don't have to hate your work. You can actually love your life and love getting up every day. Like you have a right to that, right? You have a right to love your job. You have to love your life. a right to feel good and feel better every day than you did the day before. Like things of that nature could be your manifesto, right? So now you speak to like, fuck yeah, like it shouldn't be this way. Like I should be feeling better. And then you get them energized, you get them moving. You're like, fuck right, yeah. Because what happens, right, is when human beings, one of the ways we function is when we can't see a solution to a problem, then we deny the problem, right? So when you can't see a way out of a bad relationship, like, oh shit, we have kids and we got the house and like how, like that would never, and then you just live in denial of the problem, right? And like you're not even aware, like at some level you are, right? So if you give people a path out of it and show them, no, there is hope. I've been through this. I've helped others just like you get through this. Then they can start to admit their pain to themselves.
Right. Makes sense. More. Thank you.
Got it, man. Got it. Thanks, Jordy.
So we have a question from Jeff. He can't come live because he doesn't have a mic, but he wants to know if you have advice for someone who is lacking clarity, vision, they've lost their motivation, what to do when that happens.
Is that so? Is that a question, or is he making suggestions to Jordy? I'm happy to answer as a question.
He's saying that that's something he's feeling. We were chatting privately.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Yeah. What to do when you're overwhelmed and have lost your passion? Take a break. Take a break. Allow yourself to feel whatever you're feeling. I mean, I would take that as a sign that you're something about the path that you're on or your approach to it is wrong, right? You're not living your design. You're not living the way that you're supposed to. So I would take a break. So I see Jeff says like work full time. Well, maybe quit, or, ask for vacation or like keep going to work, but like cancel everything else. Keep going to work if you must, but cancel everything else and just dedicate time to yourself and to your internal life. Figure out, what is going on? What is it that's stressing you? What is, what are those feelings? What are the thoughts going through your mind? Like somehow you created this situation for yourself, right? Through your beliefs and your actions, your behavior. And so how did you do that? And then like, what do you want instead? What outcome or result do you want? What do you want it to look like? And what are the steps that you can take to move in that direction? But it sounds like you're not on the path that, I don't know about like your, I mean, you might be in the right job, but you're just approaching it wrong, or you might be in the right career, but you're approaching it wrong. You say one of your goals has been to be a billionaire. Yeah, that's great. Still a goal of mine, but I don't have attachment to it anymore. I think giving up with the idea that you can even design your life, right? That you can even like know how it's going to turn out. Like we're taught to be so like controlling or like directed, goal oriented in life. And yet, right, isn't it true that everything amazing in life happened just by accident or by chance, right? Isn't that true? Like it's definitely been the case for me. Like, and the best moments have been random, right? Like the way I met my wife was just like completely random. Did not expect that at all. And there you go. The way that I met my COO and my executive assistant have also just been like, whoa, that was amazing, right? And the way that I got onto this life purpose of mine was through a lot of pain and crises, right? So dive into that. embrace it, love it. That pain has a gift for you, but only if you go in and you feel the feelings and you dive in there and figure out what it's about. One of the ways that I like to look at stuff is, grown Calvin and little Calvin, right? So inner child. So little Jeff, like what you're experiencing is probably grown Jeff, like smacking little Jeff over the head. Like, why the fuck aren't you a billionaire yet? Like, what? Like, get to work. Like, get your shit together. You should be way further than you are right now. Come on, go, right? And you think of it that way, that's you as little Jeff's father talking to him in this way. That's not helpful, right? That's not helpful. Like, get super curious about him, love him, hug him, embrace him, like love him, figure out who he is and what his dreams are and what he really wants to do. What does he like to do for play, for fun, right? Because it have to be fun. We're as humans, right? We've forgotten to play, but play is how we learn shit. Play is how we grow. Play is life. So yeah, get back with him, figure out how old he is. Just, take a wild sense of how old is he right now and what does he need? And start having those conversations with yourself. Yeah. Stop beating him up. Stop beating those little boys and girls up. They don't deserve it. They really don't. Yeah. We all do it. We all do it. Not helpful. Yes.
Awesome. Jeff says thank you. And I really enjoyed hearing that. We also have Alfar, who I'm going to bring on to ask for some advice.
All right.
There we go.
Hey, Alfar.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Oh, I think I got your Superman shirt on.
Woo!
Yeah.
Nice. All right. We're like two peas in the pod here.
So I just did my first launch, Jeff Walker style, and it failed. Meaning,
tell me, how did it fail?
Well, meaning I got one sign up. I mean, so I could also say it was a success. One person signed up.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But when I look at it like in terms of statistics and numbers, that one person is just not gonna, even if I scale like crazy, that's not gonna add up. But so I thought to ask you, what's the I kind of take it you've been down and out a couple of times and had some good solid failures.
Yeah.
So what's your advice to get back in the game?
Yeah. Well, tell me a little bit. So what was your price point?
I tried to I had a free 97 price point, 12-week workshop and how to beat procrastination for let's call them awakened individuals who are stuck in this phase when you wake up, where you have to change from fear-based motivation into love-based motivation. It's kind of a tricky thing to do. If you don't have the tool set to do that, it's extremely you can feel like you're completely stuck, and that's my target audience.
All right. Yeah. So and how many would you need to sell in order to what would success look like?
Since this would be the first time I had done it, it would have been, if I had gotten 8, I would have been happy. I would just like to run it through, get a feel for what works, what doesn't work, and then later scale to like some bigger numbers.
Sure. Did you send out a "Do you hate me" email? Are you familiar with that idea?
Like asking for feedback, like what worked?
Well, I mean, so a common thing is like literally after the launch is over, you send out an email with the subject line, "Do you hate me?"
No, I didn't do that.
why didn't you buy? Like, is it because you hate me? Like, just it's a way to provoke people from hitting reply and letting you know why they didn't buy, right? Did you do something like that?
No, I didn't.
No, because what you might find is that, I mean, so it really depends, right? So you might find that how many people did you have on your list?
I built the list from scratch from Facebook and had 1,400. I literally bought them with a lead magnet.
Gotcha.
Within a relative quick period.
Got it. Yeah. So okay. So yes. So like trial and error, man. Trial and error, right? That's my middle name. I've failed, quote unquote, failed a ton of times, right? So you just try stuff and then you say if it works, and if it like got the result that you wanted, or if it didn't, then you go back and you figure out. There's a lot of things here that you probably that are easy to fix. What you might find is that there are a lot of these people that were actually interested, but there's like a small thing that made them not invest at this time, right? That could be a thing. In general, like that, like buying leads off of Facebook, my experience has been that like 97% of them are crap. Like it's not easy to get good leads. Like generally the people, it absolutely can be done, right? But there's a lot of crap amongst it.
I almost get the feeling like the Facebook algorithm, when you say I'm advertising for leads, they target people that normally will download stuff and become a lead.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
But is
yeah.
that like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've done some, like if you've done some in the past, I'm not intimately involved with the details of it, but I know we did ones like where people like didn't even open emails after like the first email or anything like that. Like it's just like absolutely like useless leads, right? So also you mentioned a short period of time, right? So you get, I saw a graph in a book that I'm reading right now. It's called Sell Like Crazy. Let me try to bring it up and see if I can share, because it's helpful to understand this. Sell Like Crazy. Her name is Sabri something. You can find it. But here's that illustration. Well, you know what? I can do one better because I actually included it in my in the slides for next week. So here, there we go. I'm gonna share that instead. But so I made a slight variation on hers. Screen share. I don't know if you can see. You probably can see the screen share. So here, like the awareness level of the people of the buyers, the people in the market, right? And so there is the people who are willing to and ready to buy now, and she claims in her book that that's about 3% of the market. And then there are people who are in a information gathering mode. She says 17%. I kind of like shifted things a little bit. She says 20% are problem aware. So I don't know what these numbers should be. So I think 17% would be these two here, and then unaware are down here. So basically only a very few, see now it stopped updating again. Only a very, very few people are actually ready to buy now, right? They're still gathering information. They're still learning about your offer. And like, so basically you can get lucky and, you know, attract people who are ready to buy now, but chances are you aren't gonna, because everybody else is out for those people as well, right? And so it's building up trust. They've never heard of you, all that stuff in a short amount of time. It's just really hard. That's why affiliate marketing is way better, right? Because trust has already been built and it can be transferred over to you, right? And you only pay for the sales that you actually make, right? So if you have people, but that also requires some time to build relationship with those people, right? With the people that are going to be your affiliates. So there are no quick solutions in that way. But but I would look at, like, I would start doing more deep, in-depth research with the people, the one person that bought, right? Talk to that person on the phone, like, hey, like, super cool, like, here's where we're at, right? Maybe you do the course with that one person, maybe you don't, up to you, but maybe there's some other way that you can serve that person if you don't want to do the course, right? And then also with some of the people that didn't buy, like, just, hey, like, what's your situation? What's up? What's down? What's your pain? What are you looking for? What made you sign up for the thing in the first place? And what made you not buy? Like, there was some sort of disconnect there, obviously, right? But yeah, I mean, it's just like, wipe off your tears and just get back up on the horse. I've definitely had many times where I've been like really punishing myself for quote unquote failing and feeling like crap about it. And I can tell you from experience, it doesn't actually make it any better. It doesn't make it, it doesn't help. So let's not do that. It's just, don't take it personally. It's not about you. It's just the process of learning and doing this. And everybody's out there saying, oh, this is easy. Just do this and do that. And then like, boom, boom, boom. It's fucking not. They're lying. They're all lying through their fucking teeth. Like, this shit ain't easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it. Everybody would have success the first time. They don't. It's just not how it works. Like, and it's an inner journey as much as the outer, right? There are things that we have to do inside that, like, there are things that we have to, well, I mean, it might just be like you go through things but for like 98% of us, there are things that we're not really willing to look at or feel or go into, or like, I don't want to have to do all this work. Like, there's some kind of inner journey component to it that we have to, there's some journey we have to go on internally to be ready for that results out there.
Yeah.
So it's been my experience. Yeah.
So, do you hate me email going out? Yeah.
All right. And offer, like, give people your phone number. Include your phone number. Hey, like, give me a call. I want to hear from you. Or like, I mean, literally offer people jump on the phone with them. Not a lot of people are going to call you, but like ask to jump on calls with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. You got it, man.
We've got another question from Jordy.
All right.
Bring him on.
If it's the same shirt.
Oh, I see the disappointment in your face.
I know. You broke my heart, man. You broke my heart. It's okay. I'll get over it.
Yeah.
I'm a strong man.
Okay. I hope we can come back from this.
I don't know.
No. Let's make it a hero journey. So Neda is asking for questions, so I'm happy to fill the space. What kind of characters, like character diamonds, do you see most in the coaching business and course creation sector?
I don't know. I don't think I have an answer to that one. Yeah, what are you thinking? Like, what kind?
It's like I'm trying to think of myself, and like right away I asked my girlfriend and I texted my best friend, and like my best friend, he says like, I cannot think of anyone, like you're unique and special. But then like I'm also seeing like what you're doing in Simplero, like the mask is like the more real we get and the more truth we take as primary, the less of a mask will show up, hopefully. So
wait, what did you say there? Say that again.
Like we all have masks. Like you say it in a different way, but I know it as the Japanese knows that you have three faces: one you show the world, one to your close friends, and one you show no one. And like you say like, I'm not sure about what the mask thing, but the more real you get, the less more of a mask you have, right?
The less of a mask?
Yeah, it's like you're trying to dilute your mask that you have towards the world.
Yeah, no, so like I'm just looking up right now in the article. He doesn't actually explain what the hell he means with mask. So I would probably just let's drop that word and just talk about the quirk or the flaw because we know what that means. So I'll do that going forward. But no, I don't see this as about masking in the sense of like showing up in a sort of like a little bit hidden or artificial way. Like the way I see it is like the quirk is very important, right? It has to be there in order to make it work. Because we don't like people that don't have quirks, that don't have flaws. We're just not interested, right? So you might want to overplay it a little bit in how you show up in your marketing. Like you can really play on it and be more like, for me, lean into being fucking offensive, right? Like a lot of people like Gary Vaynerchuk because he is a bit, much and a bit offensive, and people like that about him. Same with Donald Trump. Like, he can be pretty offensive too, and like people actually really like that about him. Some people hate that about him, right? But that's the whole thing. This shit is polarizing, right? It's all about being for someone and not for others. You can't be for everybody. That's not interesting. People aren't going to feel anything around you if you're just bland and someone that everybody can love.
Right.
And so I don't think it's about like what kinds of character dynamics we see for this industry. And I wouldn't know the answer to that. Is like what's right for you? What's true for you, right? Like, I think one of your quirks, or it could be like the quirk or the secondary, but is like you have a little bit of a too much of a good heart. Like you really want to help people, and you want people to see what you see and understand what you like, know what you know, and they don't care, but you just really want them to because you're a good person, right? I could see that as your quirk or flaw, or maybe your secondary. Like you just care a bit too much and you're too excited about like helping people.
I love it. Thank you.
Yeah. You got it.
I'm joining Monday. That's
nice. Excellent.
You got me. Course Lounge Accelerator, guys.
All right.
I don't know if you're already in it, but a little bit of marketing for Kelvin. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, man. All right. Thanks, Jordy. All right. Does that conclude it for today?
I have a question in here from Jeff Mason. I don't know if you would know the answer to that. Do you see that question?
What are you saying? There's so much division and hatred. Is that the one?
Yeah. He's trying to figure out if maybe like his identity is messing up the success of the social media campaign.
Wait. I don't. So what is it? Can you phrase the question for me?
Yeah, so I think from what I understand, the question is saying that we're all talking about the character having a connection to the brand, and Jeff is wondering, is there a time where the identity actually messes up the success of the brand and the campaign, and how to deal with that?
Is there a time when I don't understand the question.
Right. He's basically saying he thinks his identity is holding the success of his social media campaign back, and wondering
in what way.
That I'm not sure.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess he's just feeling a little lost, whether it's him that's the problem or maybe the consumer is just not understanding.
I mean, are you talking about like something like shadow banning and that kind of stuff, or are we talking about like the I mean, the world is, there's a lot of division going on in the US right now. There sure is, right? Um, is it me or is it the consumer? I don't know. I guess it's both. People are very emotional right now. Yeah, I mean, shadow banning is a thing, for sure. So like, yeah, I don't know, like maybe a separate account or something. It's pretty crazy what's going on right now. But again, as marketers and as entrepreneurs, we just have to roll with the punches. We just have to figure out how to use it to our advantage. And there's always a way to leverage whatever it is, right? So just a matter of figuring that out. But it's kind of hard to speak to without knowing the specifics. Yeah. I'm still proud of eBay. I know I was buying like before the pandemic. Could be a lot of things to that. Like, what is that product? Like, obviously, like the pandemic has changed a lot about what people are looking for. In general, a lot of people have a lot less money. A lot of people have a lot more money, right? And a lot of money have changed hands. People tend to be more about immediate needs versus like dreams and aspirations and more want kind of things during crisis, right? So some people are in crisis mode, some people are not. So it all kind of depends on the specifics. Yeah, sorry I can't help you more. Yeah. But yeah, like, I mean, so obviously, like, once you take sides politically, right, there's going to be a bunch of people who don't give a fuck either way, right? But there's also going to be a lot of people who do care, and some are going to love it and some are not, some are going to hate it. So you might be better off just, I know a lot of people who are just like not speaking out these days, right? They're like, hey, if this shit came out, like, it would hurt my business. I'm not going to talk about these things in public. I'm not that way because my non-negotiable is integrity and truth. So that would be not, from a business perspective, it would be not on brand for me, but also just is not who I am. Right. But I understand that a lot of people don't feel that way. I get that. But I feel like if you do, then just like own it and lean into it. Cause there's plenty of people out there. Like, I mean, if you look at the polls, the country's divided, pretty much split down the middle, right? With some percentage points is leaning a little bit towards Biden right now in the US, but it's pretty much straight down the middle. So if you are going to lean into it so that you get the wind in the back from people who believe what you believe too. So they actually get the benefit from it. Yeah. All righty. Thank you guys. This is fun. This is fun times. I'll probably see you guys again next week to talk about, we've scheduled in the calendar. We should be on next week to talk about the market. So your customers, your audience, getting clarity on them. And yeah, fun times as always. Have a phenomenal rest of your day. And I appreciate you being here. And I'll see you guys next time.